We can start, yes.
Why?
Great. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're very happy to be here today with you for this session during the lunchtime, like every year. But please take it as a very interactive session. We're not going to give like those kind of presentations. We're going to talk a little bit about introducing a little bit our speakers, introducing also the CSEM startup program, and talking after that about the challenges and the opportunities that we have in the startup domain. Today is a big pleasure to have with me Andrea Dunbar, that I will give her like 1 minute to present herself.
Yep, so nice to meet you all. My name's Andrea. I am working at CSEM as the CTO, and CSEM is Transferring Technologies. We're a deep tech technology transfer company. I also work as a professor of practice at EPFL, where I teach digital transformation and new technologies. And my background is a physicist, and I have a very nice startup that came out of my group 2 years ago called Matisse, who are using AI to look at artworks, and that's why I'm here today. Nice to meet you all.
And Andrea is a great also startup mentor, as she is also coaching several startups now since many years. And the second person that we have with us today is also Raphael Kaufmann, who will bring really the experience from the entrepreneur journey. I will let Raphael introducing himself, but also his startup today. I can give you also this one, Raphael.
Yeah, sure. Hello, my name is Raphael Kaufmann. I'm from Neuchâtel. I'm a Swiss entrepreneur. I grew up here. I studied here in Switzerland mainly, and I've made an internship in the CSEM a long time ago. That allows me to know a lot about the ecosystem, the innovative ecosystem of Switzerland. I have different companies, so I launched 5 different companies the last 15 years, mainly in the sport industry. And more important, I'm a father. And it leads to my next product and concept and started by launch 4 years ago now. So I created the Spin and Play. Spin and Play is a game console, screen-free, to help children to develop themselves the cognitive and physical skills and to try to get, I would say, an interesting alternative to screens. I'm not against technology. Again, I have a good background in technology as well, but we noticed the last years that we have really a lot of different issues that come up and increase a lot around children, especially overweight, disorder of concentration, and hyperactivities, which are not always physical issues that could be just treated by medics. And so we imagine some alternative to allow children to start again to basics, to move more, to be concentrated to what they are doing, like we were doing in the park in the past. But we have also different constraints because they are now more at home, for instance, and it's really important to give them alternative in-house, outside, and the capability to play as well physical and also cognitive activities. So here you have a little overview of what we have in the landscape, what's a different problem we got when we are parents around the children, because it's a really easy alternative to give a screen to children. They are completely occupied. They allows you to keep your daily activities, to cook something fresh or to do something else. But at the end, there are some consequences we have seen before. So we imagine a product that allows you to have nice physical activities, to develop cognitive skills with reactivity, stimuli like sound and lights. And we also add some gamification concept to be able to practice over a long period of time. It allows you to have really concrete results on the physical development of children. To be more, I would say, concrete, here we developed with a CSEM a connective sensitive mat that allows the children to be completely independent when they are playing, which is also really important as a parent because you know they are doing something by themselves. They will develop their own skills. They will have to jump always around the road, and they can play from 1 to 4 players. So they also develop their social skills at the same time. And the idea is to have always something active. They have to move. And then they have also to fulfill some objectives, like you can see here with numbers, with sound. The letter represents also the sound. So they can learn music, they can learn basic mathematics as well, and always with the physical activities. It allows the children to be really more active and to develop those basic skills, again, like we were doing in the past, outside in a park or whatever. Now it's more complicated, but it's a good alternative. And for parents, it's still easy to give a simple game that they can play at home as an alternative.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Raphael. You can discover the video later, but also you can see it on the YouTube. So myself, my name is Baha. I'm the Vice President at CSEM, responsible for communication, marketing, and business development. And I also coordinate the startup program at CSEM. I think some of you may know CSEM as this Swiss Technology Innovation Center that develop and mature technologies before transferring it to the industry. So at CSEM, we develop the products and services for our clients, let's say in like 5 to 6, 7 years time. But today, I'm more presenting, the CSEM from the startup side, because at CSEM, we have also a startup program that encourage internal entrepreneur, so people at CSEM, but also external entrepreneur, so people outside of CSEM who will apply, for a booster grant, and they can get like for 1 to 2 years of employment at CSEM to be able to create their startups. The objectives of our startup program is really to drive this tech to market ideas. And here we had one example with a company which is not in the frame of the Accelerate project, but at least we can see an external entrepreneur who has a commercial background that can come to CSEM and be helped to develop the technology and the products that he needs. The second also objective at CSM is really to develop this entrepreneurship skills that we have for our employees, and specifically the new generation of employees. And the third one is also in complete coordination with the SERI, with the Swiss government, is to enhance and develop this startup ecosystem in Switzerland. So at CSEM, how we do it, we have, as I said before, the InnoGrant, which is dedicated for internal CSEM employees. We've communicated yesterday the creation of Seacraft, the startup who is doing this photonic chips. So Hamed, the founder of Seacraft, got an InnoGrant 1 year ago that helped him to go to mature already his knowledge, to work on the business side, to mature his company idea, to create his company, and now he's raising money. And this is really the objective of the InnoGrant, with a lot of help from a technology and know-how side that is done by CSEM team and the CSEM groups. The second one is the Booster Grant, where we open a call 1 or 2 times per year. Now, for the last 2 years, we're doing only 1 time because we have really a good success with the applications, and it's really open to external entrepreneur. Andrea talked before about Matisse. So Marie came to CSEM 4 years ago. She got an employment contract with CSEM for 2 years that helped Marie to create Matisse, to raise money, and now Matisse is a team of, I think, 7 to 8 people working in Neuchâtel. So one condition we have is that startup must not be incorporated before. So we are an incubator for entrepreneurs. We're not incubator for startups. We're not allowed, in fact, to help official startups if they do not pay money in the frame of project like we did with Raphael. And those entrepreneurs will get 1 to 2 years of employment at CSEM for the Booster Grant. For the InnoGrant, it's always the same, that they get like 2 years of period to create the startup, and after that, go be employed by their own startups and start to tackle the challenges of the entrepreneurs. I will go very quickly, but really very quickly, on the startups that we have today in the portfolio. We have Actival with the dental aligners, and you can see all of them here today. We have Vizienko, who did this organoid sorters, and you can see that they are playing in all the domain. So, and this is another advantage when you go to CSEM, and you can apply technologies for a lot of domains. Seacraft, I was just talking about it for the photonic chips. Triomics to predict your health based on a small drop of your blood. We have also Wachibia, who is developing this smart bracelet for mechanical watch, so you can keep your Rolex or Omega or whatever mechanical watch, and you can just connect on the wristband to get the heart rate, the steps, the calories. And we have today still from the last booster grant, Veronica and Benoit, who are doing the proton beam detector, and Naime, who is doing a device for fetal monitoring. This is the one that we have today in the portfolio. We're expecting like 3 to 4 additional one also by August this year. And this is for regarding the startup program at CSEM. And now I want to tackle with Andrea and Raphael, but also all of you, all the challenges of the startup, specifically in the domain like the deep tech domain. And after that, it will be between Andrea asking also question to Raphael, and don't hesitate, please, to interact whenever you want. So Andrea, please.
Thanks, Baha. So I'm going to start by talking about the opportunities as we see them today, particularly coming from this deep tech world where we are. So we heard about it this morning. You know, we heard ETHZ and Swisscom, EPFL. They're all coming together to capitalize on AI. But AI has also revolutionized the way that startups can work. You can go to ChatGPT, and you can get it to write contracts for you. You can help it to search IP, brainstorm with it. It's an accelerating aspect that is allowing people to go much faster at the beginning of their AI journey. And then it's also allowing you to make better UX interfaces extremely quickly. And this is really an opportunity that can be seized on, particularly by startups who are very agile and who can have small dynamic teams to profit from this. The second element I want to talk about is in the deep tech world. What we see is that the price of deep tech technologies decreases rapidly. Okay? So what happens is that technologies that were not available for certain products, certain consumer uses, become rapidly, in a period of 5-10 years, can go down by factors of hundreds, even hundreds of thousands. And this is one place that startups can look to see how can I capitalize on these new, cheap technologies which are available to me. And bringing these two together offers huge opportunity in the deep tech world.
And maybe, Andrea, just before going in the innovation management, I would like to ask Raphael, in fact, to comment on, from one side, the acceleration, and the second side, the price of the deep tech. How did you live it yourself, you know, in your companies, but specifically also for Spin and Play?
On the data and the value of the data, I can speak really on that field because we try to avoid any screens, so any data collections. It's specifically because we developed the concept for that reason. But we have a market push. I'm a father. We want good solution for our children, so we try to avoid that fact in the development. But in regards to the opportunity in terms of the condition of the market for a lot of different sensor device, it's really an advantage. That's also why we went to the CSEM to develop something and not basically in China. It was the first comments that we received from different financial partners. Don't you go directly to China making your product? They will do a great job. Yes, maybe, but we want something perfect. It goes to children. We want something really specific. We need someone who develop with us a product that understand really what we want to do and how we want to do it. That's why it was really valuable, and we can also add some good sensor. It was a big challenge to make the sensitive mat of 1.5 meter or 1.5 meters. We have a patent on it. And basically, when we started, it was like, no, it's easy. We do something basic. It will be easy. No, we want something flexible. We want something soft. We want something which is anti-slip. And all those facts have been able to be done with the CSM only because we got a huge communication skills with them. And we had a lot of different sensors that were not meant to be used in such kind of product.
And was it possible to do what you're doing today 10 years ago?
Absolutely not. Not at an affordable price.
At affordable price,
yeah, we need something,
exactly.
Market push again, we need something that is affordable for family everywhere. So it was also a big challenge, not something really easy for the CSM. We used to work with more, I would say, massive projects. More important, I don't know, but different type of product. And it was really a challenge to get something affordable and to put some technology at a good price as well in the product to really to have something that matches the market expectation. Like you said, I'm a businessman, business developer, more on the commercial side. So I know what the market is expecting. So I really developed the product with the market in mind. So it's a bit different.
Great, thank you.
And so maybe just to come back on that, like I think the integration, we have these technologies which are available to us today, which are less expensive. We have access to software which can be done very quickly. So people are expecting us to integrate this quickly to try demos, and this is extremely important because when we're doing innovation management, when you're making a startup, you need to constantly be testing. You're not using the waterfall principle where you know what you're going to be doing in 1 year, 6 months, even 2 months away. So what you're trying to do is test your market, make your product, try it out, and do that again. And these small iteration steps that are needed often come through these integration of the technologies and demos so that you can actually test it out with your clients. And I'm guessing this is something that happened for you.
So we don't have the data to analyze all those facts, but we have UX lab everywhere in Switzerland. So we went to the HE-Arc engineering in Neuchâtel, who have a nice UX lab, and we start to make some assumptions and to test them, because I don't want, in terms of a certainty period, to go somewhere else and to see the bad result at the end. So I want to anticipate everything. So we tested, we made assumptions, we tested everything with children in different conditions to be sure and certain that what we are doing is right directly. And you can do it with technology, but you can also do it with good human in a UX lab as well. And it's really important just to minimize the risk as well. I love risk. I take risk all the time, but you have to minimize the risk. That's for sure.
Thank you. Here are 3 startups that have come out of CSCM or that I've worked with. And I just want to always come back to this thing I was talked to about this morning. So what problem are you solving? What is the problem that you are solving? And I bring this because sometimes it can seem so obvious that you're solving a problem. And I give the example of Matisse. Matisse is basically using AI to look at pigment detection, which allows you to authenticate certain artworks. So if you have a Van Gogh in your room, we can say, yes, this is right, because we see the pigments are dated from his period, and we can see the underlying drawings, which also correspond to this. And we can do a sort of signature of that painting. And we thought, okay, this is going to be great. We're going to go to the Met in New York, we're going to go to London, and we're going to offer this service to get the data so that we can start building a database. Well, guess what? There are several Van Gogh, Rembrandts, and other amazing paintings, but there are copies. There are copies, and the Met has one, which is exactly the same as the people in Milan, and they don't want to know whether their one is a copy or not. Because as soon as they've admitted that theirs is a copy, then they've devalued their collection. So we were so sure that we were solving this problem for them, but actually, they didn't want that problem to be solved. At least certain people holding these pieces didn't want it to be solved. So it's very interesting. Auctioneers, on the other hand, they want to know. So then we pivot and we decide who we're actually offering the service to. So your route to market can be incredibly important. You can assume, and so often we assume that people want this problem solved. It makes total logic in our head, but afterwards, it's not there. The second thing is, even once you have solved someone's problem, the question is, will they pay for it? So not only must you solve the problem, but you must do it at a cost point, which makes a lot of sense.
So it's a path that we took as well. We conduct a willingness to pay study to be sure that our product is not only good for children, but also that parents will pay for it. Because if you have something fantastic and nobody purchases it, so you lose. So again, to avoid any problem at the end, you have to anticipate that fact and to say, okay, what's the cost of your innovation, your new technology, and to provide it at the right price as well. You have to test it. You have to ask yourself and others if it's right or not. If you miss this one, you lose. That's a really crucial point.
And Raphael, how did you, let's say, play and how did you spin during your entrepreneurship journey? Because the design of the product, was it the same when you started, or did you change? You saw that's okay, this one, there is no one that is going to buy. You know, what is the real journey where you went through?
We start with something really cheap, just a center with a road in the center, and we nowadays they were playing like 45 minutes. Oh yes, we win, but 1-2 times, and then it was over. Without testing, we were not able to identify that. Okay, the cost of production was nothing, but then you have no concrete result on children. My purpose is to get a concrete result on the development of the children. So we tested again. We had some gamification concept with some colorful circle all around. It was a bit better, but not full. That's why we add the sensor and the mat. It's to be able to track them and to be more proactive, giving them some challenge to be able to see if they succeed or not in the challenge without any screens. It was really challenging because when we are looking at the product, it's like a kid's product, don't seem to have a lot of technology, but giving technology without any screen or any track record on the device, it's really, really difficult. But it was a long process of 3 years to get the product we have now. And at the beginning, adding technology was really costful, and we worked during 1 year just to optimize the cost to be affordable for the end. So it's a long, long, long process.
Yep, and I think that a demo is very important in this, because all of your friends and your family and the people you ask, before they put their hand in their pocket, they're always going to say to you, yeah, I'd buy that. That's a really nice idea. You know, and even your future clients, they'll say, oh yeah, we think that's a good idea. As soon as it doesn't cost them anything, they're going to be nice. They're going to say, yes, that's interesting mostly. So it's really a tricky problem to make sure to have a demo to actually make someone pay for it. It's a different problem. One thing I also want to mention as a sort of a positive that we have here in Switzerland is that we have a very good ecosystem for accelerating startups, particularly early stage startups in Switzerland. There's a lot of opportunity, whether it's funding, whether it's through the EPFs or CSCM. There's a lot of people. So if you come with your idea and you understand very well one thing, whether it's a market or technology, all the technologies and other things around that can be delivered quite quickly and with relative funding. And I also wouldn't underestimate the geography of Switzerland either, because actually there is a natural linking to Europe, and this also allows a good opportunity for this research. But the question is why is this such an important thing to accelerate? Because you have your idea. But speed is everything today. This is what we heard about this morning. And so you bring your USP, but you need to leave the rest to someone else to do it quickly so that you don't have to also become an expert in UX. You don't also have to become an expert in electronics or in the communications. That's not where you're bringing the value necessarily. So you take what you know, and then within this ecosystem, allow them to accelerate your product to market.
So Raphael and the ecosystem, I know that you have a kind of a specific, let's say, experience in the ecosystem. Even if we say that in Switzerland there is a lot of people that can help, but it's very difficult to find those people, and very difficult to find the good one and the one that also can go with us, you know, through the technology innovation, the technology development, trying also to help to connect with investors and all this stuff. What is your experience now since 4 years specifically for Spin and Play?
Going to CSM was obvious. My company is 5-minute walk from the CSM. I used to work there, so it was quite easy to know that I wanted to have the group as an expert to develop my project. But I'm also always frustrated because we don't speak too much or enough about the CSM and what they are doing. And people don't know exactly that they can just knock the door and present a project and try to develop it. So the ecosystem is good, is existing. You have to spend quite a lot of time to find your good partner. Even in Switzerland, we have a lot of different opportunities. But my main frustration is also in terms of funding. It's really difficult. Even though you have a market, even though you have a good idea, you have a proof of concept, still getting the right funding to even before scale up is not easy in Switzerland. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of contact, and it's really frustrating sometimes.
And maybe before going to the funding opportunity itself, when say it's okay, leave it to the experts. How did you do it personally? Because it's still your startup. This is your idea, and do you need to trust you need to trust the people. You need to challenge them. How it's your experience in this regard with CSEM, but also with the others?
I think they do pretty good job in terms of suggestion. They don't take any decision. The decision is always yours. The first direction is yours, and then they will evaluate different paths, and you always have to choose. So it's still your project. You are still leading the project, and without a proper investment, it goes nowhere. So you always have to be involved and to follow every step of the development. So yes, it's still your startup, and you can ask for more expertise in different fields. It's also why it's important to have, I would say, a great and well-sized research center to help you, because you have different fields where you need resources, and sometimes you have to allocate the resources in different topics. For instance, now we work a lot in terms of software, but from 2 persons we have now 5, and it's really important to be agile. If I just take again the speech before of Amanda, it's really crucial. And there we have something with this kind of research center where they can really adapt themselves to you, and it allows you also to grow faster without too much investment internally.
So one other point that you'll often hear about startups at the beginning is they say, oh, you make something and then you go and then the market doesn't fit, and then you're like, okay, so my startup is dead. And it's like, no, just pivot. And so here you can always pivot, and it depends on your USP, but just be careful how you pivot. So I would say that normally you might know very well your market, you might know very well your technology. If you know well your technology, then you can pivot to a different market. If you know very well your market, you can pivot to a different technology. But I would not advise pivoting both market and technology, because that tends to suggest that you don't have a USP. So think about what you know. Do you know the market, or do you know the technology? And where are you basing your know-how in your company? So my advice would be pivot, but not everywhere.
Did you pivot everywhere, Raphael?
I never follow the rules. Yes, I pivot everywhere. It was a dynamic process over the years, and sometimes we have seen the market changing a bit. We adapt ourselves, and we adapt the technology as well. Yes, it was a process this way. Yeah, we do everything we should.
Was it easy when you pivot to take all the people with you, or your partner, your investors?
Sure, communication. Communication is a key. Again, to be close to you was really helpful. To be able to just make 5 minutes, say, okay, I have an idea. Please try to do that. And it was really completely possible because of the proximity of both entities.
So the next thing I would say is demos. Demos are extremely important. So all I can suggest is try and make your product. You will not sell much if you discuss too much on high level. Oh, this is my idea. People need to see concrete. We're coming from a deep tech company, so we would say that you should have hardware. You need to demonstrate to people what you can do, and this is really, I think, one of the force that we have at CSEM. And often to make demos, you need partnerships. You need partnerships in software, maybe partnerships in the hardware, maybe partnerships in the marketing, and I think that you also need to then show your route to market. So your demos allow you to see where the tricky elements are on the scale up to the full market. Right. I think we should move a bit faster. I'd quite like to hear from the people in the audience. Okay. So the last point I'd like to make is just on the finance. So finance, friends, fools, and family can get you somewhere, but can only get you so far. And one of the things that one needs to think about in finance is there's a reason we call them series. And a pitfall that sometimes can happen with early stage startups is that they're told to constantly look for finance, and it's important to have a money and a runway, but it's called rounds for a reason. So you need to also do the timing. The timing of finance is very important. And if you can get different people bidding at the same time, this puts you in an advantageous position. And so I often link it to cooking a little bit. You need to keep your possible investors on the simmering, on the boil, but they all need to come to the boil at the same time so that you can say, well, I have this offer from this one, as opposed to from this financing company. So there's rounds for a reason, and don't leave it too late. The later you leave it, the more equity you will have to give away. Okay, because they know, they can smell it. They can say, no, well, you won't exist in 6 months unless I give you some money today. So don't leave it too late. You need to constantly be looking for finance, but do it in rounds, in series. Think about when you're actually going to close the round for each one.
Raphael, what's your experience now in fundraising?
It's my nightmare. I hate that. No, but it's an obligation. It's something you have to learn. When you're an entrepreneur, you always love to learn and want to learn new things. So it's a part of the process. We have financed everything until the beginning of this year. So it was also something we were proud of. It allows you to do whatever you want in the direction you want to take. But we start to present the concept at the CES in Las Vegas in January. Since then, we got a lot of different contact, and you see also that it could really helps to go faster. Fast is a key as well. You have to go fast on the market. So we start to meet investors, to integrate investors as well. It's a long process. It's a long period of time to get a contract signed and the money in the account. But you have to take it really seriously. And if I have an advice now, I would have done it pretty early as well. Not waiting the time I need some more investment, but to have it in my contact detail before and then launch it when you really need to have something in mind. And now I'm constantly always taking some new contacts and continue to pitch.
So if you were not early always in rounds, so you waited a little bit to have your final kind of prototype, and you started to attract investors, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and demo is a key as well. It's easier to speak with someone and to show it working. I mean, you don't see it working, so now it's not clear enough. You can see the video; it will be more clear. But a short demo of 2 minutes, you understand the concept. You need to show it. So you need a proof of concept. You need a product that is working in front of you to be able to make the right decision for the investors.
And where are your investors? In fact, the main investors today coming from Switzerland, Europe?
Switzerland, Neuchâtel.
Neuchâtel.
Yes.
Okay, good.
And it's not family and friends, but it's easy. The easiest contact as well. Friend from friends who get some good money that want to invest in local people that have a great idea.
But you went to CES to get someone from Neuchâtel, or they knew you?
No, but you get some experience as well.
Okay.
And my experience speaking with investors came from CES. What kind of question they have, what kind of adaptation I need to do with my pitch deck and so on. So I take a lot of learning from this process, and then I was able to pitch perfectly on some investor in a local one, and it's working.
Yeah, just to come back on that, just friends, food, and family. I think it's very important if you can get as far as you can. This would be my advice as well. You need to think early and not be in a position where you're running out of money when you're looking for finance. But when you invite VCs in, if that's your investment, it changes the dynamic, and just be warned about that. So get as far as you can with the friends, full, and family in the local ecosystem would be an advice.
So now it's your turn. Does someone have a question? Yes.
Yes, I have a question. You mentioned the struggle with funding and with raising money in Switzerland we have. Is there a second, or what is the second problem which we face in deep tech in Switzerland, and how could we solve these two problems? Maybe a question for all of you three.
I mean, it's a question everyone should ask himself. Everyone got a problem and have to find his own solutions. Mine, I solve it by myself. Getting more in deep what I wanted not to do. It's more pitch, more contact with investors, but I think...
But is it easy to raise money for deep tech startups in Switzerland?
No, I don't think so. I think it's still hard. I think the network is not enough developed. I mean, it would be more easy to develop something nice in the US or in different countries. I mean, we spoke about it before. There is some countries that are really risk averse and.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that I agree, but I would say that traditionally Switzerland is seen as being rather good at the early stage. So up to 1 million, you can get funding. There's many funding mechanisms out there, from venture kick. There's many Swiss. There's so the early stage. It's normally possible for deep tech. What is often missing, we feel, in the landscape of Switzerland, is the scale up. So as soon as you're looking for the 2 to 20 million region of financing, this can be particularly difficult. There tends to be less funding, and there's less VC funding. Can be harder.
Yeah.
That financing was one question, and the.
Are there ideas how we can solve this issue in Switzerland?
I have an idea for a startup. For that. So my idea, and I had someone who's going to do it, but he just got a job. So I believe that there's a lot of high net worth individuals who would be willing to put down between 20 and 50,000, not to get a very high return on investment, but just to get to give something back, and because they want to be associated with deep tech, and they think it's a good thing to do. And I think that there is a huge opportunity today in Switzerland that some entrepreneur who has a bit of a business background, bit of legal, and a network in deep tech could make a startup and go around and get a series of people, maybe up to 1,000 people, all putting between 20 and 50,000 together to make a venture capital fund in deep tech. And you would not get a huge rate of return, but it's big enough to spread the risk that it makes sense, so that the unicorn would be equally distributed. So I absolutely do believe there's an opportunity in this today, and I have several friends talking about it, but I've yet to convince anyone to take this idea on. So that's my idea.
She asked me if I were willing to invest as well. So
but he hasn't put the money on the table. I just let you know. So that's my other question. Like, they say they will, but will they really? But I do think that there is a huge opportunity, and I think that today's uncertainty on the market makes this a stronger opportunity than it was even before the 1st of January.
My idea is to oblige bank to do their job at the end also. I mean, we have cantonal bank here in Switzerland as well. They should be involved in the process as well.
There is some cantonal banks who have.
Yeah, it's always a matter of risk.
Yeah.
We don't take any risk. I mean, we have an economic wealthy system that should be involved more to support startup. It doesn't mean taking too much risk, but you have to, I would say, to promote that in a different way. It should be really
But there is also some association like against the Deep Tech Switzerland also who is trying to push in this direction. I don't know if you want to comment just by.
Well, it's as well the Deep Tech Nation.
And the Deep Tech Nation, yeah. So we're starting having something in Switzerland going in this direction. And I think that the problematic is taken more and more seriously, specifically for the deep tech. I just want to add that. That even we had some startups from CSEM going, for example, to San Francisco, and they spent like 3 months there. And even there, it's not easy. It's never easy anywhere in the world to raise money. Even if they were 3, they spent like 3 months. Yes, they have some leads, but it's not an easy process.
And it's a long process.
It's a long process. That's why also, as Andrea said, that do it as early as possible and stay always in the round. I don't know if we have other questions. Yes.
Does your map works outside? Does your product work outside?
Yeah, I think
Does your product work outside?
Yes, it does. It's on battery as well. You can play up to 10 hours outside as well. It's on the bags that you can carry on when you go on vacation or on the beach. I mean, I have a 7-year-old boy, and I tested everything at home. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I can't develop something without testing all the time, every small details.
Why didn't you bring it with you, in fact?
Yeah, good question. Next time.
Yeah, I also forget. I don't know. That's maybe next year we'll bring it here. In Switzerland, you say?
So it's something we identify, but it's not the point. When children at 4 or 5 years old, when they jump, they have the physical and the biomechanic of the body, which is done to avoid shocks. We are done. We don't like running on the back of the feet. We used to cushion our jump. And the idea is to let them practice and being able to do it. Of course, when they are 4 crazy doing everything on every side, it will make some noise, of course. But on the basic, we thought about it, and it should not be such a problem.
You have to make a claim on the product, in fact. It's not your
True,
responsibility.
Exactly.
Yes, please.
Yes. What are the next milestones for your company? Are you working on the second product? I mean, second version of the mat. What are the next funding round you've planned? What much more money you need? And yeah, what is the next steps of the journey?
I want to grow naturally because I have already the commercial market. I'm working with Decathlon United, so for the worldwide segment of Decathlon, we work with Fnac. I have some good contact in Walmart and Target. So distribution will not be such a big problem for us. We want to finance the next step, and we already evaluate the next step. So it means the product is enough powerful to be used by athletes and physiotherapists and different segments that would need some type of product. So we just have to change the design of the mat to be able to use it on different segments. So basically, it's the next step will come 1 year after, just changing some content and some software inside.
Have you reached the break-even now, or how many revenues have you generated till now?
I didn't present all the concept because on the gamification concept, it's a book where you have a story that you have to read, and then you have a cover on the mat, so with a different design. So it's still capacitive mats, but with a different design. And on the book, it's really massive. You have some nice drawings on the books, which represent also the world that you create on the cover mat. And then we have some challenges to fulfill. Again, you have to read and to go back to make some activities. It's just to provide some new support, some new learning stuff that you have to practice more and being really more healthy. And it allows us also to have some license. So we suggest we create some books. So it's about 50 pages books, so real books. And we have sold some license to Decathlon, to Flick Flack, the watches, of course, because we are. It's a good concept for children, so it's a good communication tool as well. So we are a marketing tool. We are moving to a marketing company. We are selling some marketing support to show you brands and your product around a good and healthy environment for children. And so we have sold a license to Decathlon, to Flick Flack, and now the next step will be to be on the market, which is planned for August, if everything goes well, or at the end of the world. So I secure all the segment on shelves with my customer already. So if it's not August, it will be December to catch the high children's season. But everything is planned. Break even, it's quite easy. I have a number. I know 30,000 pieces, I'm break even. So the question is, if I'm break even? No. If I will be soon? Yes. Because when you are working with such a big chain like Decathlon, Fnac, and you cover such a big part of the world in terms of retails, it's not difficult to reach your break even.
Product will be available by the end of the year.
Yes.
So you have one client in the room, and how much money you're looking for?
I still need 1 million.
Okay.
I invest myself 1 million. I raised about 800,000 yet.
Great. We're out of time, but we can take a last question if there is a last question. If not, I would suggest to applause for Andrea and thank you so much. Thank you.